Bundy pinned his man one time. Pinned him again for a 5 count.
He told the referee keep counting to 5.
The fact of the matter is this: on the five-time WCW champion, now can you dig that?
Oh man, what is up? Straight Talk Society. This is your host Trevor, and I'm back with another episode of 5 Count. It has been about 3 months since the last time I was with you guys for 5 Count. This is my 5 takeaways from tonight's episode of WWE Smackdown. Overall, I thought that it was a good show. It had a lot of storyline progression. Overall, it moved a lot of things. It had a show-long angle, which I'm always a fan of. So I do appreciate that. But there were some misses. Hold on one second. Let me see what's going on here. I don't know why my camera was looking kind of weird there. Yeah, all right. I think we're back on. There were some misses. So I'm definitely gonna get into that. But it's been 3 months, so here we are. We're back again with another episode of 5 Count. So let's get into the show. These are my 5 takeaways from tonight's episode of SmackDown, and we won't be long. Number 5. Oh man, nothing but bricks. Carmelo Hayes. So what can I say about Carmelo Hayes? Fantastic in-ring performer. And tonight he had his chance at the United States title against LA Knight. Didn't think he was going to win, but I thought tonight we were going to get something. Like you were going to get that performance from him where it was just like, oh man, now he has arrived. Tonight's performance to me was just nothing but bricks, man. It just let me know that he could take the blunt force trauma really, really fantastic. LA Knight kind of dominated this match. Carmelo Hayes had a couple of hope spots. It almost came off like Carmelo Hayes was the babyface in peril here, the way he was just getting done, dirty against LA Knight. But I didn't care. I didn't care for this match as far as what it was when you compare it to the Andrade versus LA Knight match from a few weeks ago, which was fantastic, back and forth, hard-fought victory. Tonight just seemed like LA Knight literally just another notch on the belt. Carmelo Hayes needs something. I don't know if he needs a manager. He's never spewed great talker or anything like that. It was more so like a package deal because he always had Trick Williams. Trick Williams absolutely was the star of that group. But again, Carmelo Hayes, fantastic wrestler, but he's just missing something. His tagline is Melo doesn't miss. But I'm going to say tonight, Melo is shooting nothing but bricks. So let's get into my number 4 takeaway from tonight's episode of Friday Night Smackdown. Oh man, Black Girl Magic. Hey, this is the reason why I even decided to come back and do 5 Count tonight after being off for 3 months, because this match was announced. You have the team that I dubbed Melanin Magic, Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair, versus Jakara Jackson and Lash Legend. I was so glad when I saw this because the Team Metaphor were going to get on the big stage, But this is one of those things where it looked good on paper and it looked good in flashes, but it didn't deliver because you started out having Kevin Owens interrupt them. And I get it. That's the bigger storyline, but you don't have two women that you are debuting on the main roster in this spot, and you have somebody interrupt them when they come out because it makes them look cheap. It makes them look like, why should I care about them? Then you had a whole angle play out while they were on the outside of the ring waiting. It looked bad from the beginning. Jakara and Lash did do some pretty good moves, especially Lash Legend. Lash Legend is a star. She's an awesome. You often hear me use the term when I talk about certain women's wrestlers, glamazon. She is a glamazon. She's actually bigger than Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair, and it looked good when she was in there throwing them around, doing everything. Sometimes you watch like a Io Shirai. Okay, we're gonna see on Monday Night Raw. We're gonna see Io Shirai and Kairi Sane against Black Girl Magic, and it's just gonna look terrible because they're gonna be so oversized, overmatched, overpowered. But tonight, watching Lash Legend in there with them, she actually looked like she belonged in there, and she was throwing them around. Her stuff looked good, especially that move where Jakara Jackson basically did a cartwheel on Bianca Belair's back. That didn't look like it was fun to take at all. But again, the match was too short. You have a showcase like this, I'm just going to give them a mulligan and say, hey, you had this angle. You had to fit this in some time. You just wanted to whet the audience's appetite. Hopefully people now want to go seek out Lash and Jakara, which I think, hey, you guys know me. You listen to me talk about wrestling for more than 2 seconds. I say Bianca Belair is the most beautiful woman in wrestling. Jade Cargill has an aura about her that is second to none. Lash Legend, I think, is gorgeous, and Jakara Jackson, I also think, is a beautiful woman. So you have 4 beautiful black women in there. I'm always pro black women. Just give them some more time, Triple H. Give them some more time. I won't even bring up the press conference at Bad Blood this time. I should, but I won't. Just give them some more time in the ring. Let's move on to number 3. My number 3 takeaway from tonight's episode of Friday Night Smackdown is a chief without a tribe. So the show opens with Jimmy Uso opening the show. Roman Reigns comes out to his normal 52-minute entrance. He comes out and he says, hey, crowd, let's do something different. Join me and giving Big Jimmy some props. So Jimmy Uso still being the goofball, still playing second fiddle to Roman, is all good. So they get into a conversation. Jimmy Uso tells Roman, hey, we were the ones. We aren't the ones anymore. Basically like, hey, you're a chief without a tribe. And then he said that I'm the only one that acknowledges you as the tribal chief in the family. That was very important because we all saw last year The Rock acknowledged him. Well, earlier this year, The Rock had to acknowledge him. Now for Jimmy to say that he's the only one that acknowledges him in the family, that's very telling. We saw the clip of Solo saying, hey, it's all in the plan. It's all in the plan. So it's very interesting to see how that works out. Jimmy Uso said, hey, we need some help. The fans start saying yeet. Roman looks at him and just says no yeet. So Roman doesn't want anything to do with Jey Uso. So we'll see how that plays off. And not for nothing, I want Jey Uso to stay far from this. I know he's going to be in it, but just the way his trajectory is, I don't want him to play second fiddle to Roman Reigns again. He's fine where he is, but I know eventually they'll find some way to get him back with the bloodline. So let's get into my number 2 takeaway from tonight's episode of SmackDown. My number 2 takeaway is we need help, Uso. So we saw at the end of the show Jimmy Uso losing again to Solo Sikoa, which actually I want to say this was one of the better matches that I've seen from Solo in a while. Nice aggression. All his moves look stiff, everything like that. So it was good. What was weird though is Jimmy comes out and all 4 members of Bloodline 2.0 are out there. I mean, like Roman Reigns couldn't be bothered to come out and help the guy, or at least, corner him. So it's basically 4 guys out there and he's wrestling. But Solo's taking a good portion of this match. Like Solo literally beat the hell out of him. Solo ends up winning the match. The beatdown commences. Roman Reigns comes out. They start to fight him off, but the numbers game's too much. They end up spiking Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns is laying there. Jimmy Uso's laying there. He just gets up and looks at him and said, "We need help, Us." And we know. So now the person I want to be the help is Brock Lesnar, but we all know it's pointing to some type of Jey Uso, maybe Sami Zayn, reuniting with the bloodline. Like, again, I want Jey Uso far away from this just because he's doing so great right now. He's like, man, he's probably top 3 babyface in the entire company. I just don't want him to have to come back and be second fiddle to Roman. I feel like he'll lose the momentum that he gained, but nevertheless, that is where it's heading. So let's get into my number 1 takeaway from tonight's episode of SmackDown. Can anybody guess what it is? Brrr. My number 1 takeaway: good friends, better enemies. Like I mentioned earlier, Kevin Owens interrupted the women's tag match, comes out, basically trying to punk Cody. Cody comes out. Randy Orton stops Cody and he's like, "Hey, don't do this. I'll talk to him. Cody's all pissed off. Randy Orton gets in the ring. He's trying to stop Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens hits him with a vicious elbow. And then all of a sudden, Randy Orton just knocks him down. But it was like that knock you down where, like, not that I hate you, but it was more so a reactionary knockdown. Kevin Owens leaves the ring. They're kicking him out, telling him he's banned because allegedly he's suspended for attacking Cody Rhodes. So that'll play into it later. So then we go backstage with all this Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes. So during this whole conversation, they're like, man, it's crazy to see Randy Orton being the voice of reasoning, trying to get Cody calmed down. He's like, "Hey, go on your bus. I'll talk to Kevin. I'll get him calmed down." All of a sudden, Randy Orton picks up the WWE title. He was holding the WWE title in his hand the whole time. And then when he put the belt on Cody's shoulder, he was like, "Hey, you go and you take care of this piece of gold." But he just kept like patting his hand on it, meaning like, "Hey, I'm coming forward soon." And then, Cody goes on his bus. We switch scenes. All of a sudden, there's a melee in the back. Nick Aldis runs over and sees Randy Orton getting his ass kicked by KO. They thought KO left the building, but he came back, beating the hell out of Randy Orton in the backstage area. I think what this is going to lead to is a triple threat match at some maybe Survivor Series. We may be getting a triple threat match. Who knows? But I think this is where it's going. To me, Kevin Owens as a heel is how he should always be: the prize fighter, unhinged. Then you got Randy Orton, the snake, the viper. He'll turn on you at any given moment. So this should be very, very interesting. Give Cody some real threats that you're like, all right, we feel like you could lose this title to Randy Orton or Kevin Owens. So this should be a very interesting feud after Cody, is done with Gunther. So I think that this will probably be Survivor Series match. But hey, guess what? This is 5 Count, and those were my 5 takeaways from tonight's episode of SmackDown. Peace.
Bundy pinned this man 1 time. And pinned him again for a 5 count.
He told the referee keep counting to 5.
Show starts in
The fact of the matter is this. On the five-time WCW champion, now champion.